All right, what's up, guys? So, I wanted to hop on here and share a few things today that have been very real for me. I've had a pretty rough week in my entrepreneurial life, and so I wanted to make this live because I want to share with you guys that it's not always an easy ride, right? A lot of coaches out there, a lot of programs, a lot of marketing out there is designed to make you believe that like you buy a program or you sign up for something and your whole business changes overnight, right? And so I'm just going to be a living testament to the fact that that's not true. And when you do invest in mentorship and you do invest in these programs and things to grow your business, this is really the first step of the journey, right? Like you have the coaching skills already locked in, but it's actually like building the business that is a huge journey and identity shift. And so for me, what I'm going to talk about today is more identity based. So, something that I've realized and that I've come to realize through working with my mentor is that about 80 to 90% of this work of building a coaching business is actually identity based. So, strategy is really only like 10 to 20% of what you need. So, you can think about it like this. The strategy is like the tip of the iceberg, and the identity is what's below that. And so you can give the same strategy to two different people, and they'll come out with two wildly different results because it's all based around their identity. So I want to talk today about three identity shifts that I've been making around the areas of self-worth, because I believe that this is huge, and the areas of capacity to receive, and something new I came across called the law of emergence. And now some of the stuff is original, some of it I've learned elsewhere. So I'll be sure to give credit where credit is due throughout this process. But yeah, the whole reason I came up with this idea was because there's been a lot of highs and lows in the coaching business. And this is the reality for most people. It's not like a straight shot to the top. I don't think I know anybody who's um, invested in mentorship and then become like an overnight success. What appears as an overnight success is actually like years and years and years of putting in the groundwork, and then the person becomes known, and then all of a sudden they blow up, right? But really, they've been doing it for, years and years, if not a whole decade before that happens. So there's a difference between having the coaching skills and building a business. They're two totally different sets of skills. So you can be excellent as a coach, you can be super competent, you can be totally pro and get your clients amazing results. But then there's the identity of the entrepreneur, which you also need in addition to the identity of the coach. So this is where it gets tricky because you have the skills, you are amazing at your craft, but when it comes to growing a business, that side of things is not quite hashed out yet. And it's an ongoing journey. It doesn't just like happen instantly. So what I'm going to share with you today are, three key mindset pieces that I think are going to help you. And they've helped me through this past week where, I've been going through the ups and downs of entrepreneurship. And I guess I can get a little bit more specific about that and just tell you guys a little story. But basically, you know, past few months have been amazing overall. Like I've gotten way clearer on my niche. I've gotten my marketing messaging super dialed. I'm attracting like perfect fit clients through my ads, and everything's growing, right? Like my Facebook group is about to clear 800 members. My email list is over 1,000 subscribers now. My YouTube channel is getting subscribers. Like everything's growing and compounding every single day. So it's really amazing to see that result and to watch it take place. And last week I had like amazing momentum. I did a live that just was really incredible. A lot of people showed up. I was really riding on a good high after that. A lot of people showed up. A lot of good engagement and interaction with my audience. And like that's how you know things are going well, right? In your coaching business and in your marketing is like when you're getting a lot of engagement, you're getting a lot of positive feedback from your audience. People are starting to message you, people are booking calls with you. All these things are happening and it's incredible, right? Like you see the business is growing in the right direction. You're like, okay, marketing's working, check. Like calls are getting booked, check. Like right fit clients, check. Like all the good things are happening. But for some reason, at the beginning of this week, I just hit like a really low point and was like struggling with just feeling pretty isolated, feeling pretty alone in what I'm doing. I just moved to a new area here, and so I don't have a whole lot of solid friendships yet, I guess, since I moved here in February. So I feel like I've been on this kind of lone road of entrepreneurship and it hasn't been easy. And I think that that is part of the reality that everybody faces at some point in their coaching business because the choice is to go in a different direction than the rest of society, right? Like, I don't go to an office or a workplace. I don't have like a whole lot of social interaction in my day to day. I have a lot of time thinking, a lot of time producing, a lot of time making content, and a lot of time relaxing because that's kind of what I'm meant to do in this phase of my life. But yeah, I think for a lot of entrepreneurs out there, having a good social network, which I'm like making steps to build here, it's just, it doesn't happen overnight, it happens slowly, is very real. So I would advise you guys for one, like have a strong support network, have your brothers, have your sisters that you can rely on and really lean on when the road gets lonely and you feel like I'm building this coaching business, I'm isolated in this room with colorful walls and it all looks great. But yeah, in reality, it gets a little lonely sometimes. And so I think that's kind of what started the dip for me is going through that and then like, oh, like who can I call? Who do I have to support me? And all these things, all these thoughts start to compound, and I went into a dip for a few days. And so, what I learned from that were three things. Like, one is like, where does my sense of like self-worth come from? And my sense of self-value. And I had to do a lot of exploration around that because I'm like, I found that I was in a trap. I was like, okay, it's not like my network and it's not like the car I drive and it's not the amount of money I have in the bank. That was another thing is I just like unloaded a bunch of investments to invest into my business more. And that was scary and that was very disruptive for me too. So I will talk about the self-worth piece in more detail, but things are flowing this way, so I want to share this right now. But the old version of me, right, I was making like six or multi six figures, doing marketing as an agency owner and being a VP of marketing for a sales coaching company. I was making like 30 grand a month. It was epic. And during that time, I was investing heavily. I was like investing a lot of money into crypto, into stocks, stuff like that. And what I found in retrospect was I was actually like relying on these things to make more money for me because deep down there was a lack of belief in myself. And so I was relying on these external sources. I was like, okay, if I put like enough money in Bitcoin, then it will, hit $1 million and then I'll have a bunch of money, right? But the reality is the by investing in my business, the returns I get there are going to far outweigh like any stock or any crypto or any other investment. It's the investment in myself that's really going to pave the way for more wealth, right? And investments are great for the long term, and that's what they're there for, thinking like 20, 30 years out from now. It was great to have those things, but when it comes to the immediate and like generating wealth now and building abundance in your coaching business, it's about investing in yourself and it's about investing in um, the business as well. So like right now, I'm investing a ton in ads and I'm investing a lot in yeah, just like the softwares I need, mentorship, all these things and like investing in myself to be in the best state possible. And so that was a big paradigm shift for me. And it was like a part of me died. It's like a part of me like died, and I went through it for like 3 days of feeling like shit, basically. I was like, oh my gosh, this part of me that like wanted to invest and put all this money into these things to get rich was one, delusional, but two, like that part of me has to go. Like I can't be that person anymore. So when we set intentions to generate more wealth in our business and we set intentions to have the multi six figure, the seven figure coaching business, the universe is going to create paths for us to get there, but it's also going to stir up our awareness within ourselves and shake some things loose. So for me, it was like, hey, like this pattern of like, investing in external things, hoping that you'll, make money is like not being all in. It's not showing me that you are really committed. And so I had to sell like, I don't know, I decided to sell half my investments. I like was smart about it. It's like, okay, like I'm going to sell half my investments. I'm going to put them all into my business and then I'll revisit in like 6 months. So, it's good to have runway when you're launching a coaching business. That's another thing. It's like when you make the transition, having like, 6 months of runway for the business is smart. So, anyways, I did that. That was a big thing. I felt like part of me died and I went through it for like 3 days of like freaking out and like not knowing what to do. And keep in mind, this is coming off of like an amazing week where like I was on such a high from like all the good things that were happening in my business. And then all of a sudden, just overnight, I don't even know what happened in retrospect. But yeah, so it all pointed me to these three things that I want to share with you guys, which is the law of emergence, which is really cool. It's something I actually just learned about today, and it really helped me gain perspective. Self-worth, which was again, I kind of caught myself in this trap of like comparing myself to external things and outsourcing my sense of worth to the surroundings around me, which is like not relevant at all. And then capacity to receive. This is another good point. So, like I was saying in the beginning, a lot of coaches out there, they want you to believe that like, hey, if you just buy this program or like if you just invest in mentorship, like it will change everything in your business. And what I'm saying here is strategy is only like 10 or 15% of the real work. And the identity piece is like 80 to 90% of like what has to get done. Because when you're in the right identity, life reflects that 360 degrees around you. And so it's like, yeah, I can give the same strategy to two different coaches, and like one will go make a bunch of money and the other will stay stuck where they are. And it's largely due to the identity piece. So let's talk about a few different things here that are going to help you step into the identity of what you're becoming. So number one is the law of emergence. And this is something I heard about on a podcast today, actually, and I thought it was really cool. And it's essentially this idea that, you have a calling as a coach, and then you have a calling to serve, to help others, to impact lives. And that calling is like a voice inside you, and it's like a little seed that wants to sprout and grow, right? It's like a little acorn that wants to grow into a mighty oak tree. And as humans, we have egos and we have stories and we have things that get in the way from letting what naturally wants to emerge manifest in life. And so, we can have all these stories like, oh, I don't have enough time to, grow this business, or I can't afford to invest in mentorship right now, or, I can't put myself out there until I get this coaching certification, or when this happens and these conditions are perfect, then it's all going to fall into place. So like we put all these barriers to actually doing the thing up. And so it's like, okay, like I put this barrier in front of my dream, I put that barrier in front of my dream. And like once this happens, then I'll give myself permission. And because we have an ego, we can do that, right? But like a lizard can't be like, I'm too tired to be a lizard today. Or like, a monkey can't be like, I don't have the time to be a monkey today. Like it's not the law of nature, but because we have egos, we can create these interesting stories around like why we can't be the thing that we're being called to be. So the law of emergence is basically that like there's a seed inside each of us that wants to grow, and we have to nurture it and give it the right conditions to do so. And so, I mean, obviously, environment is huge. So, are you in the right environment to grow and become the thing that you know you are in your heart and that you're being called to step into? And so, the other piece of that is nurture. So, environment, nurture, like how are you taking care of yourself? How are you nurturing this calling and honoring this calling? And even if you are in a place where, something I said might be true, or it's like, oh, I don't have the time right now, or I don't have the finances, or I don't have the coaching certification yet. I mean, at least be aware of that. So, because yes, you may have created an experience where those things are true, but if you're aware of it, you can kind of untangle yourself over time. And so you can let that seed inside you grow under the right conditions. So the whole point is giving the seed the intention, the conditions it needs to grow into the tree, right? So your environment is huge, the nurturing of the dream, the nurturing of the thing that you feel called to be in life is huge. And I would say those two things are paramount in terms of allowing, what it is to emerge. And obviously, like clarity is a big one too. The clearer you are on the calling and what it takes to fulfill that, like if you want to be a six-figure coach, if you're really clear on like, okay, like here's how I'm going to do my marketing, here's how I'm going to do my sales process, here's how I'm going to serve my clients, like it's pretty simple, really. Like building six, seven-figure business is like pretty easy. The hard part is this stuff, the identity piece. Like we all know it's like, yeah, you show up and you market yourself and you start to get calls booked and you start to sign clients, and then that just compounds over time and you keep doing it until you make six figures or multiple six figures. It's like it's pretty easy. But the identity piece is the hardest part, because what happens when we step into the unknown is our nervous system freaks out and is like, this isn't safe to be out here doing this. Like, what if I run out of all my money? Or like, what if nobody buys my program? Or, whatever crazy excuse it can think of to go back to safety, to go back to the way things were. And yeah, that's something I've really been going through, especially with like running ads and like spending, $6,000 a month on ads right now. It's like, whoa, it's like my nervous system is like, this is not safe, abort mission. But, I just got to be cool and calm and know that like, hey, the returns are going to come around over the long term in multiples. And so, yeah, it's imperative to be gentle with yourself, have the right environment, nurture yourself, have clarity on where you're going, and be focused on this like identity piece and like becoming the six-figure coach you know that you are. And it comes from, yes, doing the strategy, but over time, the strategy that you're executing is going to call you to higher and higher places in life. And we'll get into this notion of capacity to receive in a second, because that's also very important as you go down this path. Now, number two here is self-worth. So it's kind of like once you have clarity on like what you're being called to do as a coach, and you're in the right environment, you're nurturing that dream in an appropriate way, the self-worth thing is going to come up for sure. I think it's real for everybody in terms of like, you know, are people really going to pay me thousands and thousands of dollars for my coaching? And the answer is yes. But you also have to believe that for yourself. And you can't outsource your self-worth to the external. Um, and it's funny because I've heard like all these things before I launched the business, right? And I was like, yeah, I know that, I know that. But when you're in a whole new environment and a whole new identity, like this stuff takes on such a deeper meaning. It's like, yeah, I know it's important to have self-worth while I'm doing my restaurant job and like making money, making tips. But then it's like when I step into, entrepreneurship and coaching full time and all of this, it's like a whole other game because it's a completely unknown, right? So being able to navigate your sense of self-worth in transitions is huge because you're stepping into a new identity and the ego doesn't have a firm hold on the identity anymore. And so it's like, who am I? What am I experiencing? What am I going through? Like, where does my sense of self-worth actually come from without this job that I used to have, or like without these people who used to be part of my life and all this and that. So yeah, having an anchored sense of self-worth is super important. And so I'm just going to iterate a few points here, which are basically your self-worth is inherent in who you are already. Just the fact that you were born, God has put you here with a purpose, and you inherently have self-worth as a human being on this planet. Now, as a coach, our value that we bring to the world is a little bit unique because we have a way to work with people and help transform their life and help impact them in a really meaningful way. So we have a lot of purpose behind what we do, and we can also tap into our self-worth through our life experience and the impact that we're able to make on others just through that. So our worth, our value is within our unique skill set. It's just inherent in us from being born. And I'll share like a few other ways that I journaled about too, which is essentially, yes, your self-worth is already inherent and it manifests in a few different ways. Like just by showing up with a heart of service, that is valuable to the people around you. And your value is going to shine through that automatically. So showing up and serving is a huge piece of self-worth. And it's going to boost your sense of self-worth too, the more that you show up and serve. So it's a feedback system. Authentic sharing. So just being able to share your life experience, your perspectives, who you are, how you help people, that is inherently going to amplify your sense of self-worth. And like this is, I would say, an authentic share. Like I didn't really plan this live. I didn't promote it. I just show up and it's like, hey, this is what's real for me right now. And this is what's alive for me. And like, this is what I'm going to do. So yeah, authentic sharing, being yourself. So just the very act of being yourself has the frequency of your self-worth within it. So the more you show up, the more authentic you are, the more you're being yourself, the more your self-worth is going to increase and ripple out into the world via the value you have to share. And obviously your connection, like connection to source, God, whatever you like to believe in. Like for me, like I was praying last night, I was like, I'm ready like to step into the next level and like be connected and feel God's love pour into my life and have him work through me in this work that I'm doing. And I think that that is huge because if God is your creator, then your self-worth is inherently there through that. And so the more connected you are to God, the higher your sense of self-worth automatically, right? That would be logical at least. And so how is self-worth enhanced? So if it's already inherent in us, how is it enhanced? So I would say it's enhanced by educating yourself. And I kind of did an impromptu live about this the other day. So education, like educating yourself in your field of mastery, educating yourself around marketing, around sales, around how to be a better coach is going to increase the value that you bring to the world and therefore boost your sense of self-worth. So I hope you guys see like what I'm speaking to here, because this is like a feedback system, which is essentially the value you create within feeds your sense of self-worth, which allows you to produce even more value. And it's like this constant cycle. So just, yes, by going through life and existing and collecting experiences and being able to share them and showing up for our audience is inherently valuable. But we can enhance that intentionally through how we educate ourselves. So, reading good books, podcasts, masterminds, mentorship, all of these things are going to increase your value in the marketplace and in turn increase your sense of self-worth, because the more value you provide, the more it reinforces the idea that like I'm a valuable person and I have this to offer. And it starts with small steps, but it spirals up pretty quick. The more you do it, the more you show up. So yeah, educating yourself on business and how to show up in your business and market yourself. All of these things are going to help. It's also enhanced by your personal commitment and dedication to excellence. So if you're really dedicated and personally committed to excellence in everything that you do, that's also going to increase your inner sense of self-worth and your sense of value. So by being excellent at what you do, by showing up with all your heart and being committed and dedicated, it's going to inherently just boost up your value that you're providing to the world and your sense of self-worth as well. Honoring yourself and your boundaries. This is another good one. Honoring yourself and your boundaries. So by honoring your boundaries, you're able to maintain your sense of self-worth because you're drawing a line and you're saying like, this is what I stand for. This is what I don't stand for. And I have values, which again, the values and the self-worth feed each other. So the more you're able to anchor into your values, honor yourself, honor your boundaries, it's going to give you a stronger sense of self-worth and self-respect. Health, taking care of yourself. And this is a simple one. Eating the right foods, getting a good night's sleep, moving your body, stretching, dancing, lifting weights, whatever you like to do to enhance your health is also going to enhance your self-worth and how you show up in your content, in your business. It's going to help you add more value to your audience, and that's going to in turn feed your sense of self-worth. So this is all like a big feedback loop. And that's really what I'm trying to hammer home here is like the more committed you are to like showing up and being authentic and seeing the rewards of that, and then enhancing your character, upgrading your character through education, personal commitment to excellence, honoring yourself, your health, and obviously none of this works if you don't take action. So take action and show up and just watch how these things level yourself up. Like if you commit yourself to, you know, educating yourself, getting the right mentors, reading books, doing podcasts, um, being healthy, eating right, exercising, honoring yourself and the path that you're going on and being committed. And then the actions that you take from that place are going to be so much more powerful, and you're going to legitimately change as a person. And this is the hardest part because the change is what doesn't feel safe. And that's what triggers the nervous system to be like, whoa, 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 slow down. Like, who are we? What way are we going? What's happening? And this is the hardest part of making six figures, multiple six figures, seven figures as a coach is the identity piece. So I really want to hammer home to you guys that like these are the keys, and honoring yourself along the journey of internal transformation is what's going to make all the difference in terms of how you show up in your business and what you receive as a result of that. So those are the first two, the law of emergence and self-worth. And the last one is the capacity to receive. So all three of these ideas really helped me this week in terms of getting out of the rut that I was in, and also just understanding why I was there to begin with, because it's like, okay, well, obviously like you're building something you never built before, having all these new experiences, you're like way outside your comfort zone in so many different ways, and that's going to be taxing on you. So the more you're able to get comfortable with being uncomfortable and stretch yourself, the better off you're going to be in terms of, attracting the clients you want, building the business you want to build, quitting your job, whatever it might be. The more you're able to shift into the identity of the six-figure coach and do the things the six-figure coach does and feel that in your being in a comfortable way, that's when you're there. That's when you've arrived. That's when the thing has already happened. And I was listening to this podcast today, and they talked about this interesting concept, which is like a miracle is essentially the collapsing of space and time into a single moment. And so it's just revealing what always was in a fraction of a second. And so when a miracle happens, like let's say somebody's like miraculously healed instantly, it's just the universe revealing the truth of what always was in a split second. So the point is, does doing all this work and all this preparation help to become the thing? Or is it just a moment of total knowing and awareness that I'm already that? And I am, a multi six figure coach right now. And if you're able to step into that in this instant without needing all this wind up and all this story ahead of it, it's just what's inevitable and it's what's already happened. And so being in that space is going to help you get there faster without all the preamble and the pre-roll that leads up to it. So yeah, I thought that was interesting. The idea that miracles are literally just happening in an instant moment, and it's very real without, it's not like a miracle took ages to take place. It just happens. And that's the whole point. So capacity to receive. So let's say that you are a little light bulb, and you are a nice little light bulb. And let's say this light bulb is making 5K a month right now. And this little coil here is primed to make 5K per month. So if you're like, I want to make 80K a month or 50K per month, and if you were to put 50K per month into this coil right now, the light bulb would explode. It just would be like too much voltage for the light bulb to handle. And so the point of this teaching with the capacity to receive is that as we anchor in our self-worth, as we upgrade our character, as we allow what's inside of us to emerge naturally, our capacity is naturally going to increase. And this doesn't happen overnight either. So this little coil here inside of us has to get acclimated to receiving like higher and higher voltages, essentially. And so if you're like, I want to make 7 figures a year, you need to prime yourself internally to this idea of making that much money and become the person who can hold that level of success and become the person who's capable of holding that amount of money, of impacting that many people and helping that many people at scale where you're getting rewarded like that. And so this is key here is like this idea of capacity, because right now if your capacity is 5K a month, then that's what you're going to be making and that's what your coil is set to. And if you want to make 50K a month now, but you still have the old 5K coil, like things are going to break. The light bulb is going to explode. So I would encourage you to do these things that we mentioned above, which is allow this vision you have inside you to emerge and have the clarity on what you need to do and be in a nurturing environment for that seed to sprout and that mighty oak tree to grow. And then being fully aware of your self-worth and who you are as a person, and that it's already inherent inside of you, and that it's there just by showing up, being authentic, your connection with source, your connection with God, and how to enhance that through educating yourself, through a personal commitment to excellence, through honoring yourself, your health, and like taking action in your business is going to feed this cycle of inherent value and feelings of self-worth. And that is just going to continue to spiral up. And through that, your capacity is going to increase. And this coil is going to become, 100K a month coil over time. And as you take the right steps and you compound your efforts, your audience is going to grow. You're going to get more and more clients. And ultimately, your capacity to receive the money from those clients and serve them at a higher level is going to be there as well through upgrading your character, like we just talked about. So that's pretty much everything for today. If you're on Facebook and you have questions, you can feel free to like drop them in the comments. Oh, hey, Didi, nice to see you here. So you're reading my mind. This identity and self-worth is wrapped up in what money and wealth I have. Yeah, it's very real. It's an easy trap to fall into. And yeah, feeling like that self died. Yeah, that is painful, but it's real. So yeah, I appreciate you sharing. And yeah, this is huge, guys. So just to recap, it's the law of emergence. It's the idea of self-worth. And its capacity to receive as well. So these three things are going to be key to helping you level up in your identity, letting that vision you have for your life shine through, really standing strong in your self-worth and building your self-worth through self-respect, through how you treat yourself, through the things that you do in life, and then through your capacity to receive as well, and how you're upgrading your character to be able to receive higher and higher amounts of money and success in your business. So hope you guys got a ton of value. Dee Dee says, that's everything I needed to hear. Thanks for sharing with vulnerability and authenticity. It changed my day and was truly inspirational. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, this is the real work, guys. So even in your coaching business, you guys can do the same. You know, you show up, you share what's real and alive for you, and people are going to resonate, and we all learn from each other. So I want to thank you guys for being here. Thanks for watching. And if you would like, by the way, I'm offering free business audits right now. So if you want a free business audit, you can comment audit below this video, and I'll reach out to you via DM. And we'll have a little back and forth there. I'll ask you some questions about your business. Typically do this via voice notes. So I'll send you like voice texts, and we'll help you get some clarity on your next steps forward in your coaching business. So if you're like, hey, I need to work on like identity stuff, then I'll share what I can to help you step deeper into your identity as a multi-six-figure coach. Or if you're like, hey, I need more strategy stuff, like I feel really solid in myself, then I'll share with you what I would do if I were in your position to attract more clients. So that's it, guys. Again, if you want a free business audit, you can comment audit below and I'll reach out personally. And I appreciate you guys for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your week, and we'll catch you on the next live.